Alright, so we're here for round one against Budakov, the Magic Online Championship winner, and our hand is terrible. Generally, keeping zero land Gataxian Probe is not a winning strategy, so we have to ship this. And I've mulliganed a lot, and deck has still been performing pretty well, even on 6 cards. You can recover that stuff pretty well from Treasure Cruise and whatnot, so it hasn't been that big of a deal. Like you can mulligan to 6 pretty easily. I don't know if I've won on a mull to 5 yet, but so he suspended an Ancestral on turn 1. He's playing the outdated Treasure Cruise, but I can respect that. You know, I love some Shardless Bug, and I haven't actually played this matchup yet, so this should be interesting. I do have kind of the cards that I want, minus the Spell Pierce. Not super impressed with that card in this matchup. So we probe him. He's got a Decay, Brainstorm, Deathrite, and a Bayou. So overall, pretty good hand. If he decays the Swift Spear, I'm certainly fine with that. If he just goes for Deathrite, I'm also fine with that. So I'm liking my spot as long as I draw a second land, and there it is. So this deck, you know, like other decks, you might be tempted to just be like, oh, you know, like I'll Brainstorm, fix my hand a little bit. I have the Spell Pierce that I kind of want to get rid of, but with this deck, I just jam threats basically. So Ancestral at 2 currently, and he has another Decay, so that's really good for him. I'm going to start off with a Ponder, try and find some sort of threat, and that's generally better to do that before you Brainstorm, although like if you Brainstorm like yourself, you could Ponder out of it, but if you Ponder first and then Brainstorm, you see more cards overall. So I like doing that, and we're going to order them like such, so we get to play our land this turn, have a Young Pyromancer on top. Not going to get to stop this Ancestral from coming off, I don't think, unless our Brainstorm yields something fantastic, but that basically just means that we have to find a Treasure Cruise to keep up. So he's going to fire off Brainstorm, and I'm just going to snap Spell Pierce this, because Pierce basically doesn't have any other targets. And then he's going to play a Deathrite, which I am fine with. I'm going to untap, play a Pyromancer, and Chain Lightning that guy. Have to use Shuffle Away Brainstorm, which is always kind of sad, but I'm over it. I already have one, you know. Gotta make plays, gotta use our mana efficiently. Gotta also just cut down on his mana for when this Ancestral goes off, because if he was able to untap and play like a Jace or 2 Goyfs or something, like we might actually be in trouble. I mean, like maybe Jace wouldn't do it, but a couple Tarmogoyfs certainly would. I don't have a lot of answers to Tarmogoyfs. And there it is. I mean, I do have this Young Pyromancer, certainly, which holds him off, but breaking through that Tarmogoyf is going to kind of be an ordeal. Oddly enough, 4 daily events, first time playing against a Tarmogoyf. He forced my Brainstorm. That is aggressive. I can't say I really disagree with him, though. So now this is kind of interesting. I could send Pyromancer and a token. I think it's kind of obvious that I have Lightning Bolt, so I'm just going to send the Pyromancer. And I'm fine trading Pyromancer and Bolt for this when I basically don't have any action. And then I'm just left with 3 tokens. So I think that exchange is fine. That might come back to bite me, but I feel like if I draw a string of cantrips, I'm probably going to be in a pretty good spot, so... And he suspends another Ancestral. I draw a Daze. Not super exciting. Need to get our cruise on here pretty soon. I think it's actually pretty reasonable for him to force that Brainstorm, considering if I had a cruise, I'd probably cruise first and then Brainstorm. So there's a Delver. That certainly helps. Ups our clock a little bit, gives them a little something to worry about. This is a fun game so far. We're both playing pretty quick, and he certainly knows what he's doing. So this is nice. Also, a lot of his cards are foil, so that's cool. Can't really tell on this Magic Online, but yeah, sure. Decay my thing. Another Strix is not bad. Halves my offense. Most of his removal is gone, though, which is pretty interesting. We have a Pyromancer. So we'll probably just fire this Daze off at the first thing that presents itself, just because Daze, even though he's like kind of stuck on four mana, isn't guaranteed to counter anything ever. And I feel like he knows about the presence of Daze. Like, he knows that that is a magic card. So he is likely going to play around that. And I think I could just use the extra token. But I continue to just draw some lands here, so not the greatest. But Strix goes down, and now I'm debating about whether or not to play my land. I don't really want to get my 2 cards hemmed, but I think that's probably fine. If he's using his turn to do that, I'll just Daze 1 and get a token. Since he's playing spells this turn, I'm not gonna Daze the Ancestral. I'll just Daze something else, because if I get hemmed, I'll want to cast it. But if it's anything else, I'll just want to pick up the land probably. So there's Shardless into a Brainstorm. I'm not sure if he's gonna use the rest of his mana this turn. And now he has a brick wall for all my tokens, so maybe I just don't blow this Daze. And the card he used was an Abrupt Decay. So now, yeah, I'm just going to Daze and get a token. And I'm just going to cast it. Kind of a sad turn of events, but what are you going to do? So that's all of his Abrupt Decays. If I draw another Pyromancer, it's probably going to live. Well, there's another Pyromancer. So we'll see what happens now. I think right now the game is he has to pressure me before I draw Treasure Cruise. Because if I draw Treasure Cruise, like, the game might just be over. So it depends on really what he has in his hand. He's Ancestral twice, and I'm pretty jealous because, you know, I want Ancestral. I want to draw cards, but, you know, sometimes the Shardless deck is still even a little more efficient than the Treasure Cruise deck. No Goyf, please. Give me time. Ooh, Disfigure. Man, I lied. My Pyromancer died. Huh. There's a Jace. So, he correctly realized that the coast was likely clear, and now he's going to start Fate Sealing me. So, we'll have to check out the old chat and see what's going on here. He put a card on top. That, I don't know, he thought for a while, and that could be a bluff, you know, like I have a fetch. Like, why wouldn't I crack my fetch if he put the card on top? But I feel like he's smart enough where if it was a good card, he might leave it on top, but I don't know. I think I'm just going to crack this fetch to be safe, but he could certainly be getting me. Just going to pull out this other Volcanic. There's really no need to get basics or anything, so I'm going to pay mana for this Probe. That could come back to bite me if I chain a bunch of stuff together. But if that's the case, I think I'm fine anyway. Okay, so we draw a bunch of garbage. I think these forces are not what we want. I think it's a little too late for that stuff. So, very smart play on his part, wasting my Wooded Foothills before he Fate Seals me. I mean, I have to crack this at this point. I got to get those 2 forces out of there and then hope that he has to put something on bottom. Hope that he has to put something on bottom, then I draw something sweet. So, at this point, best card, definitely Treasure Cruise. I could almost delve 3 of them if I wanted to. I have 20 cards. So Budakov is slowly picking me apart. It's certainly a slow burn when it comes to the old Shardless deck. So he's at a point where he gets to start attacking. I'm going to block one of these things, and I guess I should figure out whether or not he kept my card on top. He put my card on the bottom, so that's something. We have a shot. Is he going to disfigure one of my tokens? I'm not sure if that'd be a good play on his part or not. Yeah, that's smart. I think you just save it for the Pyromancer. I'm going to bolt this Deathrite just on the off chance that I do draw something like Ponder into Treasure Cruise, into a, you know, God knows what, and then I just have to use all my mana this turn. So Force Will 2 lands, that's not going to do it. We need a good one here. We need another Cantrip or a Treasure Cruise. And that's a Trop. So it's not good. Game is slipping away. We're almost dead. Alright, so we go to his turn. He Fate Seals me again. And if he keeps it on top, I'm probably conceding. Just because I don't think there's any way for me to win. Because he sevens me this turn and then has another Shardless. Potentially, because he would need another land for that. But I think if he keeps it on top and then attacks me for 7, I can't win. So we shall see. Well, he eventually decided to put it on the bottom and then cast Shardless into a Tarmogoyf. So it doesn't really matter at this point because, you know, I was pretty much dead on board already. So it just depends on what my draw step is. And even if I do draw a Cruise now, it just might even be too late. We need to draw a Cruise into Pyromancer, into a million different spells. And even then, I'm still not guaranteed a victory. Yeah, he does still have another Disfigure as well, so... yeah, I don't know. Just needed a Cruise to keep up, didn't have it. Well, he's not attacking with Tar Pit, so that helps. But we drew a Delver, so that is game. So that was a pretty good one there. Just missed on a Cruise for far too long. So for sideboarding, we don't have a ton of stuff, you know, like the Price of Progress is obviously pretty good. I'm still going to side out this Fire Blast. Feels like he's playing around Daze, and in these matchups, I generally board out a Force. I think some Forces are probably worth keeping in. He has a bunch of Baleful Strixes, so maybe I want some additional Pyros. Also stop his Ancestrals, and then I could consider boarding in something like Vortex, which is really tough for them to deal with, and shuts off the life gain from Deathrite, but it can be tough to actually race decks like Shardless because they have things like Tarmogoyf, and I certainly don't have a great answer to Tarmogoyf. So I think I'm probably just going to rely on like Cruise, Pyro, Force of Will, try and draw some cards, stop his card advantage as best I can, maybe eventually find a Price of Progress and burn him out. In the meantime, try to stop his Tarmogoyfs, but I realized I had Spell Pierces in here too still, so I don't really want those. Maybe I'm just bringing in Dazes. Yeah, this is weird. Alright, I'm going to try one Vortex and 2 Dazes. We'll see how this goes. Alright, so we are on the play. Hand is not great, but it's certainly reasonable. And in spots like this, it's tough to say whether you probe on turn 1 because it's like you could draw Pyromancer and then you would want to probe them to get a token, but maybe I want to draw a 1-drop here or a Ponder, and I think I do. So I'm just going to fire off with a probe after he mulls to 6, so that'll help. 3 Deathrites, Disfigure, Verdant Catacombs, and a Wasteland. So that's kind of funny. And I'm going to lead with Volk here. I don't think he's going to Wasteland me, but I don't know. No, there's no way. I mean, he's going to play Deathrite and then go, like, waste me Deathrite, probably. But I'll certainly give him the option, save these fetches for if I draw Brainstorms and whatnot. Yeah, so he goes with the Deathrite. Smart. And I drew a Vortex with no pressure. So this could get pretty awkward pretty fast where I don't have an answer to Deathrite and I'm trying to cruise. So things are not going, you know, perfect at the moment. Yeah, maybe I should have led with fetch, I guess. Like, there's basically no way that he's going to wasteland me on turn 1. And now he can waste me, which sets me off of Vortex and just eat my land. So it's not like I really get anywhere. Against anyone else, I might be fine with it just because it would fill my graveyard for Cruise. But yeah, since he has Deathrite and he's able to keep my graveyard down, that doesn't really help me. I'm not sure if I could really just jam Vortex next turn, though. I wonder what he's up to. I feel like he should probably play his other Deathrite, but I don't know. He could, I guess he could be worried in theory about not having enough lands, but he's got plenty of lands. I don't know if he's worried about getting Pyroclasm out of this deck, because that'd be kind of weird. Alright, so he's got plenty of lands to munch on. I kind of want to fire off this Brainstorm right now. Try and draw a Bolt or a creature. Try and get a little something going before he completely runs away with this game. And we'll see what we hit. Swift Spear, Daze, Pyroblast. So a bunch of stuff I don't really want or need. Daze is not great, I don't think, in the face of 2 Deathrites. I could certainly be wrong. His hand is Deathrite disfigured 2 random cards. I definitely want 2 of these lands. Yeah, I'm just going to shuffle back this Daze, I think. I'll play the Swift Spear. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if he wants to block. Could have a Gut Shot or a Growth. You never know. I did have Gut Shot in my deck up until recently. It wouldn't have been, like, the greatest here, you know, because I would just have to shoot him for 1, but still kills Deathrite. Yeah, he makes a smart play. Blocks. It's one of those situations where, like, maybe you don't have to because, you know, what's the risk or whatever, but then he just goes for a Disfigure. If I didn't have a 0 mana instant last turn, I probably don't have it this turn, so that's good. And he's going to go to town, munching on my lands, try and make it so I can't cruise. Just play this other Deathrite. So he kept his Deathrite open. I'm going to crack this fetch, and I would not be surprised to see him just eat a land in response. But he does not. It's very nice of him. And I meant to fetch a Volcanic, but just misclicked. But I don't think it changed anything. So I draw 2 Prices of Progress and another Cruise. So, this game is weird. And my dog is attacking my cat. So yeah, maybe I should have been fetching basics. That would have made more sense if I'm bringing in these 2 Prices of Progress. That was pretty dumb, but he doesn't have a ton of land, so price isn't going to do a whole lot now anyway. That was still really bad, though. I think like the first 2 fetches were fine, and then with this last fetch, I probably should have just played a Delta and gotten an island. And then I could get the mountain later if I wanted to. So with 3 death rights and me having no pressure, it's going to be tough to price of progress him out. Like, at this point, I'm basically killing myself. Same thing with Sulfuric Vortex. So this is kind of what I was worried about, just like not being able to answer his threats. I do think having the Pyroblast and stuff is correct. It just so happens that he had a bunch of death rights and I didn't draw any bolts. So I'm not sure there's much I can do about that. I draw a somewhat useless Force of Will. A little too late here. And I think he's just going to start chomping on my graveyard here. Maybe the play now is to try to get in range of a draw with this Vortex. Could all go to hell if he just has an Abrupt Decay, but I don't think I really have any other option. I can't just like pass the turn when he has 3 active death rights. So hopefully he just keeps playing lands and maybe we can get him. I think we just get him for the draw though, really. Can't actually kill him, but maybe. See if he plays a land or not this turn. Activates the Tar Pit. That's fine. That thing's blue. I have to fetch another duel to hit that. Okay, so... yeah, I guess it doesn't change anything. I should have just fetched basics with these 2 fetch lands, and then I think I'd be okay, maybe? Well, I guess I have to kill the Tar Pit, so maybe not. He just doesn't have enough things. Man, I did not draw very well this game. At all. Perhaps I need to work on my sideboard strategy for this matchup. Although, it is strange to see people playing this deck, I guess, since you could be playing Treasure Cruise, but... yeah. I think that is probably going to do it. Could cast Cruise, but I can't do anything else. And that's it. So yeah, that's game.